You are now tuning in to the Going North podcast with your host, best-selling author, and professional speaker, Dominic Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday, we're going to hear the voice of a different author sharing their gifts, stories, and expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, we bring you ordinary humans doing extraordinary things. Today is no different because we got another author in the His House. And not just the His House, but also the local His House. Yes, indeed. We got a first-time author in the show, baby. That's right. And that's one of the best things about the show. It's a platform for folks to get their names heard and to give them the confidence to run for a lifetime with their stories and expertise. And this guy right here, he's right here from the land of charm, crime, and crabs, known as Baltimore, Maryland. And not only that, he's also an advocate for the open discussion of mental health, especially in the chocolate communities. Yes, the chocolate communities. Hershey's, all the chocolate communities, especially the podcast hosts. He's also in the chocolate community as well. And you're probably wondering who this wonderful author is. It's the one, the only DJ that's not spinning the records, Dwayne Jenkins. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, Dom. I was trying not to laugh at the Hershey joke. I got through it. I let you do your intro. So far, so good. I'm pleased about this. I didn't do the Mickey Mouse voice yet, so hopefully we can last the hour without it. But yeah, I'm Dwayne Jenkins. I am an author from the city of crabs, apparently. You can take that as you will. I guess demonetization is around the corner, but you know what? It's okay. I broke my rule 2 seconds in.
Oh, man. Well, as with all introductions are not allowed to be 500 years long, so am I filling in some gaps where I've missed some things in the introduction?
Sure. So I'm a pretty simple fellow, I guess. I guess I can start at the origin of the book, which hilariously enough came from watching Get Out for the first time. So that was an experience, and I was like, that was a cool, black-centric movie. I think I can cultivate an idea. And like a lightning bolt, it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So the Get Out movie actually inspired the book?
Yeah. Well, sort of. I will say, I can't spoil too much about that yet, but technically that was the conduit for the first book, the first manuscript that I wrote. Life Has a Way was inspired from the aftermath of a rigorous publication journey. I was trying to get queried by agents for the first manuscript, and it didn't go according to plan. In my email inbox, I probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of 300-plus rejections between my two manuscripts. So I keep that as a reminder to never give up and keep the journey strong.
Damn, dude, my man, freaking Sparta swag, and I'm kind of glad though. I was about to say, like, wait a second. Somebody tell me at the end of the movie when the white girl captured the one black guy and going hunting at the whole NCAA website actually inspired you to.
You were just like, now wait a minute, something doesn't add up because that's not that kind of book.
Exactly.
No. More accurately, Life Has a Way came out of a place of desperation, and I was literally like sitting in a Starbucks, sulking in a Frappuccino, which sounds like the whitest thing ever, but I promise you, I maintained my black identity, and I was like, what am I going to do? Like, because I had like an entire like J.K. Rowling-esque 7-book structure for that first manuscript, and I was devastated when everyone was just kind of like, yeah, no, like, that's too long, my dude. I'm just like, oh, okay. What am I going to do? Am I going to rap for a living? And then I was like, there it is, the seed. And that's a true story.
Wow. I'm glad you didn't go to the rap route. That's good. That's good, man.
Chocolate bars is almost a real thing, but only one person. And probably like a depressing cover band.
Oh, man. Don't want to go to the depressing cover band route. Yeah, I did that once. I ain't doing that again. Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those going south moments. But this is all about going north.
The Going South podcast for one episode only. I'm with it. I like that.
Nah, ain't happening. But they get drop kicked. But my man is a freaking overcomer, baby. That's right. 300 rejections. My man overcame 300 rejections, was able to get the book out finally, man. So how's it feel, man?
Honestly, it's very surreal still. I feel like it's not going to sink in until, like, the 6-month point, maybe. It's very strange to have people read a thing you wrote and then look at yourself on, like, the back cover of it and be like, oh, yeah, you did this, huh? Good job, good job. So far, no one hates it, so that's a good step in the authorial business, because if you have a bad first outing for your book, that's obviously the worst thing ever, and you'll be one of those authors that has to work for BuzzFeed. Getting paid peanuts and whatever they pay BuzzFeed people, I guess. Drugs.
Oh, gosh.
Peanuts and drugs.
Oh, man. So I guess that's why they're nutty.
Oh, the first pun of many, ladies and gentlemen. The first pun of many.
5 minutes without a pun, it's a new record, maybe. I don't know.
I wonder what your friends will think about this episode. Just like, who is Dom talking to? Like, who is this strange local person?
Don't worry, he's one of the cool cats, baby. That's right. One of the cool meows. That's right.
Ah, yes, the cool cat. It's my favorite cat.
That's right. Cooler than 17 cucumbers.
Cooler than Alaska. It's pretty cool over there.
God dang it, man. That means you're ice cold. That's right. The ice cold.
Sub-Zero, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the beautiful thing is that you didn't let yourself stay in a sub-zero place. You actually got some warmth and found a publisher that took on the project and brought you back to life.
Luckily, yeah, because I was definitely in those subarctic levels, almost frozen, my aspirations. And I'm glad that I did find a publisher that I feel like I was destined to find. I know that sounds weird, people talking about destiny and fate, but I feel like I went through all of that just to have found a home where I'm at.
That's right, where the homies are. That's right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's right. Shout out to the wonderful Black Gold Publishing, baby. That's right. They got all the oil. They got all the literary oil, baby. That's right. Not literal
literary
oil. Yeah, man. That's right.
Yeah, because people will go to war with us for that oil if it's real. It's not real, I promise you, folks. Don't I'm knocking on the doors of Black Gold Publishing in Virginia for oil that's not there because there's no oil. There is gold, but not oil. Figurative gold, not literal. So please don't.
It's like, wait a second. Y'all got the oil and the gold all this time? Said Saudi Arabia, we're coming for you. Like, oh.
Said those black people have gold? So no thanks.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, congrats again. The book has been published, overcome 30, well, actually not 30, but 30 times 10 freaking rejections, man. 300, man.
Yeah.
So any advice for those who may be trying to go the publishing route through a actual publisher and need that motivation to keep on pushing?
Yeah, actually. I know this is going to sound a little cliche, but I feel like the best advice I can give someone who has a solid idea and a good story is to just keep at it. Because seriously, when you believe in your own vision, that translates well to having your spin on things perfected and put out there for people to consume. If you're passionate enough about your art, I guess, that will always show in the people's enthusiasm of what you have to offer them.
Heck yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's right. You mentioned how the book is originally going to be a 7-part series. So any timetable on when book number 2 might be released?
So the first manuscript that I had planned out was going to be the epic, the 7-part saga, I guess. But Life Has a Way was its own standalone idea that I had initially not intended for it to have a follow-up or a sequel. But after hearing the positive reception to it so far and kind of brainstorming ways to forward it, I think I have a solid idea that I want to do for it in the future down the road. But I think for me it's important to keep myself occupied with different stories. So if I'm going to cycle back to that, it won't be for, I guess, another 2 years, 3 years maybe, because I don't want to be stagnant like some other authors. So, man, like, do you know how many, because you said it best, I don't know if I can I say that fiction writers can be a little bloated, which is very true, especially for a lot of them, because I think sometimes some people are too wound up in their own vision, and it shows. Like, some scenes go on forever and ever and ever, and we're describing wicker baskets, and we're describing chairs and the material of the chair, and she sat down so elegantly in the chair upon her grand oak table. And I'm like, can something happen in this story? We get it. It's a wonderful house. I've learned nothing about the character. I've learned nothing about the story. This is not thematic. It's trash. It's garbage. And I don't, like, I'm serious. Like, for all you fiction writers that are out there talking about water bottles and describing people's feet and their clothes and their eyes for 10 pages, just stop it. It's not fun. It's not fun to read, and it shouldn't be fun to write.
Oh, man. Yeah, man. But the beautiful thing about it is that with your descriptive language in the book, you actually set the scene pretty well for the opening of the book, and it seemed to carry on for the rest of it, at least for the first 40 pages I've read so far.
Hey, you're a busy man, so I understand the not hesitation, but the patience for it. But I'm glad that you have a positive opinion, because I know that you are very put off by fiction, understandably, because like we just said, they can go on for years describing useless things or characters acting out of turn. So, yeah, nonfiction is a very, not safe, but a very, it can be more cohesive than fiction sometimes, I think.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that, because nonfiction is like, all right, just give me the tips. All right, well, not mushroom tips, but, just give me the tips, the information, the statistics if I need them, and stuff like that. With, like, fiction is like, you got to have, like, a good story, a climax, and all this stuff. It's like a different beast. You can't just make it a whole entire outline, follow the outline, and be done on, like, a whole plane trip. Like, this is like, it takes, like, work. It's like almost like you're a blacksmith in a way. And well, then again, wordsmith's probably the better word for this
Oh my
occasion.
God. Another low-key pun. But I love it. I love the pun. Yeah, did you know that some of the James Bond books were basically travel brochures? They read like travel brochures. So in the books, James Bond and his adventures as a spy or a secret agent are superfluous. And it talks about, a lot of the time, his like daily, day-to-day life, like brushing his teeth and what he's going to wear for his date. And it reads like a Barbie and Ken set for your child, and I hate it. Like, I respect authors for imparting their own vision for these things, but the last thing I want to hear about James Bond is how cool his shoes are and, like, the make of his gun and where he bought the gun and how the gun was forged from the fires of, like, I don't care. Just have him do some cool spy things.
That's right, like sliding into DMs, right?
Is that modern day James Bond?
Modern day James Thirst Bond.
Oh my God! Hopefully without the undertones, the Me Too undertones. Let's leave those at home.
That's right. Except the homies aren't at that home. They just don't want to be at that home.
You sound genuinely solemn. Yeah, the homies are just not there right now, my friend. They're just not there.
Yeah, unless they're the female homies. Well, speaking of homies, I think
Good segue.
I think the fact is that this book actually focuses on like overcoming depression, which is like a major thing. So the fact that the original manuscript got rejected so many times and then able to circle back into the brand new Life Has a Way, which became your entry into the business of immortality. So like what inspired it? Was it just like the fact that like last year there was a lot of celebrities committing suicide and it was popular?
So, really, most of Life Has a Way is about, well, it's influenced from my own issues with depression because I have been dealing with that for many years of my life, unfortunately. I'm glad that things ended up the way that they did because I feel like I wouldn't be the relatively well-adjusted person I am today. And I want people to know, especially people of color, where things like depression and mental illness in general are taboos in the community. I want people to read Life Has a Way and feel okay to express themselves and their mental roadblocks, because I think that more so than outward racism, I think we need to take the time to reflect inward and truly glean something from ourselves that's not rooted in toxic, well, everyone likes to say toxic masculinity, but not just that, but just burying emotions and burying how you feel and being dishonest about it to people. It's just tiring, man. Like, I've went down that path, I've lived that life, and it's exhausting. So, more so than anything else, I want the book to be a fun ride, first and foremost. I want it to be entertaining and to tell a good story, because that's important. But I also want people to be empowered to express themselves. And maybe if the fact that I went through all of that is a sign that I should take all of that inward pain and bouts of suffering that I went through and put it in a book and have people be able to articulate similar feelings that they may be going through as well. So I want to be that inspiration to my people and others who may feel isolated or feel as though their brain is this force that works against them constantly, day in and day out, and they're not sure how to vocalize that to anybody because they feel like no one understands that. And I want people to know that people do understand. People like me and countless others who battle these demons successfully. It doesn't have to be an uphill battle or an inevitability that you'll never overcome it. It's hard, but it's feasible. It's very doable. I want to be a good example of that.
And you're doing it, my friend, man. You're doing it, man. You took that pain, turned it into a paycheck of power, baby. That's right. That's right. Call it the Lawahal. That's right. Life has a way, baby. That's right.
I love the very guttural noise there, like the like I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. I'm not gonna.
That's right, Lawahal. That's right. Hey, I got this book called the Lawahal, right?
Said, excuse me, sir. What did you just tell me? You heard me.
Life has a way. That's what I said. that was combonics. It was country with ebonics at the same time.
It's cubonics. I'm a smooth Southern gentleman. No, I'm not. I've never been to the South. But hey, in spirit, I feel like a smooth Southern gentleman.
Oh, there you go. That's right. Let them know. Let the ladies know they can feel the smoothness. Like, yeah, that's right. Life
that can be interpreted in many different ways, Dom. Many different ways that I feel like we shouldn't get into.
Don't worry. You can totally get into something else later. It'll be okay.
Oh, snap it to a Slim Jim.
It doesn't have to be slim. Let me stop.
Here it is, folks. The clip. We're just barreling toward it now. But if I can say something serious for a split second, I think something that our community struggles with is finding avenues to express themselves. And it doesn't even have to be mental illness. It can just be breaking into the arts in general, because I feel that black people, I don't want to say that we're cut off from it, but it can definitely be a steeper hill to climb than the majority. You know what I mean? And I kind of want to also use my story to inspire others to make their own stories. Use the story of your life in art and use that expression of the self to motivate others. You're a motivator. You know all about motivation. I don't have to explain this to you.
Hey, somebody else got to hear it, though.
That's true.
Right. That's right. Spinning them literary records, my friend. That's right. That's right. There you go. That's right. Them good pages. That's right. Them good pages indeed. Them good pages. Well, any advice for those who may be going through writer's block?
So how I outline my stories is that I literally outline them, because there are two ways that most authors tend to brainstorm a story and then follow through with it. And some people can just do it off the cuff and just write the story that they start to visualize in their head and just do it as they go along. And then there's me, whose brain is too chaotic for that. I need order, I need structure, or else my story will be absolute insanity, and people will look at me and be like, you should be institutionalized. We don't trust you. We don't like this story, and you should be put in jail. I know a lot of extremes there, but I didn't say you should die, like the internet likes to say. All I said was jail, which can be debatably worse, depending on where you sit from that viewpoint. But, yeah, that went to a dark place for a second, but that's okay. That's okay.
Well, speaking of jail, be sure to check out episode 166 of the Going North podcast with Rashad Mills. where he talks about his encounter of jail. It was the most powerful, extreme form of self-development he's ever had in his life, according to him. So, yep.
I don't mean to laugh, but that's like perfect self-promotion, like pitch perfect, like a Randy Orton drop kick when he started out. Perfect drop kick, just beautiful. And also, I just realized I didn't answer your question about writer's block. I just kind of rambled for a little bit. So let me get back to that.
It's all
Choose,
good.
choose your structure. If you're more comfortable, flying by the seat of your pants, then go for it. If the story makes more sense to you, then shoot for it. I outline. I like to have my characters thought out. Most of the major events planned. Sometimes I like to do it off the cuff while I'm writing, but it still has to follow that structure. Like, I can't just have chapters where I'm like, and then they went into the woods and nothing happened. They just had a picnic, and we learned nothing, but that was a great picnic, right, kids? Ho, ho, ho.
There's a mountain lion there somewhere. Let me stop.
Oh, Brightman, you wacky character.
Oh, yes, indeed, yes, indeed.
There it is, the signature Domism.
That's right. That's right, indeed. Well, overcoming writer Legos and just writing stuff down that man, them crazy wacky stories, man. You ever think you're going to make them like comic books down the road just for the fun of it?
Actually, it's funny that you say that, because I can't illustrate to save my life, but I think I can team up with an illustrator, and we can make some magic happen, I think. Because something that I'm noticing is that in the library, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, they have graphic novel versions of classic novels. I saw The Handmaid's Tale the other day, To Kill a Mockingbird, and honestly, I think that's a very engaging way to grab the younger audience, to get them to maybe read the actual work one day, is to just have it be a visual journey rather than a, print. Because a lot of people find reading books boring. Like, that's kind of an unfortunate part of being an author, is that a lot of people are just going to be like, well, why can't I just wait for the movie? Or I'll just wait for the television show to come out, right? Ha, ha, ha. And a lot of times that does a disservice to your story, because it's the intricacies and the nuances of writing that lend itself to being timeless, I think. And when you try to abridge some parts of that, it can cheapen it. But I think graphic novels is a good intermediary of being visually appealing and also being meaningful. So, honestly, I'd be down for having a Life Has a Way graphic novel one day. It'd be an interesting spectacle.
Oh, yeah. As life has a way, indeed. Yes, indeed. And you're definitely right about the intricacies of writing to keep people engaged with reading a book. Because this is like you're watching movies like, oh, man, this is horrible, especially if you have to read it. Cause I think it was, man, funny enough, man, it's like 10 years ago. Buso Renkin, like the same guy behind Samurai X / Rurouni Kenshin. I read the first 3 volumes of it, the manga version, and then I watched the anime, and I was like, oh god, yeah. The manga was definitely better, especially the final fight too, because they rushed the heck out of it. On episode 26,
yeah.
I'm like, oh man, it's like, yeah, man, it's just amazing the fact of yeah, man, the whole movies versus the rings. Like, yeah, if you have the patience to watch a movie, or the heck, even patience to write a book, or that's your thing, is the books will always be better. But it's like, hey, man, just maybe finding audiobook, and it kind of helps you to maybe get a better appreciation for the whole story as a whole and the creators behind the stories. Because like it takes a lot of work to actually keep people's attention and be recognized enough to actually have a movie based off of it too. So yeah, definitely right about that. Life Has a Way has a movie, baby, coming out.
Oh, Dom, if only. Do you know how ecstatic I would be to go to a premiere of a movie based off of a book I wrote? That's surreal, my dude. That's groundbreaking. I think I would pass out, and they would need to get the smelling salts to revive me. Then I get up and promptly pass out again.
Make sure you have a Pim cane and a suit on that day.
Slick back.
Yep. That's right.
But honestly, you brought up a good point about audiobooks. I think audiobooks, too, are a great gateway into reading because you do get to hear, I think you can visualize it better when it's being told to you, kind of like we're all like adult children out here that need to be told a story to be engaged with it, and then it's just like, and then Little Red Riding Hood was eaten by the wolf, the end, and you're trying to go to sleep, but you can't because you just heard a story about cannibalism and murder and horrible subject matter. But hey, it was a good story, right?
Yep. Well, speaking of W's, so any plans for the book itself, as in terms of like promotion or whatever? Is there going to be like, I don't know, like Earl Veers doll maybe?
A doll? That would be like a Funko Pop. That could be cool. I'd have to. I feel like you shouldn't over-describe your characters. Like, I get you want like a loose description, of course, but I don't want to know like how long their eyelashes are. You know what I mean? Like, some authors get super weird and creepy with it. I love this episode, Tom. I gotta tell you.
Oh, man.
Not a single like boring stretch of time. I don't know how we're slowly redirecting it back. Like, that was a good segue, the Funko Pop, but okay, now we gotta get serious.
All right, Lance Storm. That's right, Dwayne Storm. That's right. So if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're fudge it, you're like 20 something already. All right. So if you wake up tomorrow and you're
It's funny because I was waiting for you to ask me that question. I was like, what's he gonna say when I'm like 5? 15?
Yeah, man. So if you're to wake up tomorrow and you were 18 again in the current year of 2019, what advice would you give to yourself? You get to keep all your knowledge in your published book, man.
Well, if I were going for the unrealistic time travel scenario, I would definitely go back in time and give 18-year-old Dwayne my manuscript and be like, sell it right now, be rich, be a millionaire, as 50 Cent once said. But I feel like it'd be even harder to publish it back then. So on a serious note, if I had to go back in time and give myself a word of advice in general, it would be to be comfortable inside of your own skin. Honestly, for the longest time, I was kind of ashamed to be of a darker skin pigmentation because I'm sure you got that a lot too. That's one of the unfortunate downfalls, at least amongst some of our people, that you're lesser if you're dark skinned, you're unworthy, you're unfit, you're seen as not as intelligent. And I think I would go back in time and tell myself to be proud of your pigmentation and own it, man. Own it and never let anyone take that away from you. Use what you have as a shield, and no one can ever use it to hurt you. It's a Game of Thrones quote. Well, I abridged it. I kind of twisted it a little bit, but yeah, basically.
Well, for the folks in the world that need you and keep in contact with you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
All right, so I do have a Twitter and an Instagram. Dwayne Jenkins, that's L-E, and then Dwayne Jenkins. I wanted to be fancy with it, I guess. I'm also on Facebook under my regular name. I have a consistent profile pic across all three platforms so people don't get confused. And that's pretty much it in terms of social media, really.
Well, there you have it, folks. My man is social on social media. Go out there and buy 21 copies of this book. That's $21.99, known as Life Has a Way. Share it with your friends, your family. Heck, share it with your cat. And if they put the claws out, you smack that cat and you read the book yourself. And you give it to your friends and your family. Heck, even hell on that blackgoldpublishing.com. Check out
That's
some
right,
other
baby.
Black Gold Publishing, baby. That's right. Check out the literary oil, baby. That's right.
Oh, I love this ending. Check out the literary oil.
That's right. Yes, indeed. Makes all the bodies glisten.
Oh, That should be the final exclamation point on the interview. Just me going, no. No other context.
Well, enough of my inside jokes on the inside. Any party words for the folks still listening?
Listen, guys, it's just you and me right now. Doms are grateful hosts, but listen to me. If you're black and you got a story to tell, you go ahead and you tell. You swing for the fences. You don't let the colonizers tell you otherwise. And that's my emphatic statement to my people. Stay in the arts. Keep yourself mentally balanced. And always try to be your best. Don't let people drag you down or tell you different. Be the best version of you can be.
Thanks a bunch for your listening ears on the Going North podcast. I hope you really, really enjoyed that episode. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to share it with your friends and family, especially those who love podcasts and love listening to some inspiration and motivation.